Hi everyone, Danny from Blairvadach again. On today's Blairvadach Bites, I'm going to be showing you a nice simple way to fix a puncture. Don't you just hate it when you go to take your bike out the shed for a nice bike ride and you find out you've got a flat tyre?
With just a few simple tools, all of which are reasonably affordable, we'll show you how to fix your puncture and get your bike back on the road. Before starting, it's worth noting what type of valve you have on your tyre, either a Presta valve, which is the long skinny one, or a Schrader valve, which is more like a car tyre. If your bike has disc brakes, you'll be able to lift the wheels straight out. If it has V or caliper brakes, you'll need to release them before removing the wheel.
By far the easiest way to get your wheel out is by flipping your bike upside down. Although it's maybe not best practice, as long as you check there's no cycle computers or things on your handlebars that can get damaged, and you check the floors clear of anything that will stuff your saddle, it's definitely the simplest way to get the wheel out of the frame. Undo the quick release, unscrew it a little bit, and when you've got it loose enough, your front wheel should lift out. If it's your back wheel that needs fixing, it's slightly trickier, but with some simple instructions, I'll show you how to deal with that as well. To remove the back wheel, you need to take note of the chain, the rear neck, and the cassette. That just makes life a tiny bit trickier. First of all, you need to make sure that you've moved your chain and your gears into the smallest ring on the back. Rotate the pedals, a couple of clicks, and that will make the chain its slackest and easiest to remove the wheel. Next, as you would with the front wheel, you need to release the quick release. Slacken it slightly, and this time, before removing the wheel, put your thumb on the rear mech, taking some tension off and allowing the chain to pass freely of the cassette. So once you've got your wheel off your bike, your first job is to have a quick glance, see if you can see anything obvious that's caused the puncture. Spin the wheel around, have a look at the tyre. If there's nothing obvious, you'll need to do some further investigation once you've got the inner tube out. Next, it's important to let out any remaining air, if there is any, in the tyre. Once you've removed all the air from the tyre, the next thing you're going to need is 1, 2 or 3 of these things. These are called tyre levers. They make it super easy to remove the tyre from the rim and allow you to find where the puncture is. Take your first tyre lever, insert it between the tyre and the rim, and apply a little bit of pressure. That should then clip firmly onto a spoke, allowing you to pick up your second tyre lever and repeat the process. Once your second tyre lever's in, it should allow you to gently slide the tyre lever around, freeing the tyre from the rim. Once you've done that on one side, repeat it on the other. It's important to be very careful. You may even choose to wear gloves. The rims of the tyres, the beads around the edge can be incredibly sharp, and obviously you've probably got a sharp item in there which caused the puncture in the first place. Okay, once your tyre is loose, you should be able to peel both the tyre and the tube away from the rim. Next, it's important to take note where the valve is in relation to your tyre. That means once you find whatever's caused your puncture, it'll be really easy to find where it is on the inner tube and repair it properly. Next, you can pull the inner tube away. Sit in the tyre to one side, and it's time to inspect the inner tube.
Have a careful check around the tyre itself. Quite often the cause of the puncture could be quite obvious.
If you can't find anything obvious on the tyre and you can't see any obvious holes on your inner tube, a nice easy way to find where the air is leaking is to add in a bit of air for it to escape. Give it a few pumps to lightly inflate the inner tube. And then place the inner tube up to your ear, listening carefully and feeling on your cheek for any air escaping.
If you're unable to locate the puncture and where the air is coming from, place it in a bowl or bucket of water and keep an eye out for some bubbles, and that'll indicate where the air is escaping.
Some people like to mark that with a pen, a piece of chalk or a bit of crayon.
To begin your repair, place the inner tube on a flat surface and lightly sand around the puncture to increase adhesion. Wipe away any rubber particles and then apply a decent layer of the glue supplied with your kit. Next, peel the silver foil away from your patch leaving the patch itself on the cellophane. You might even choose to add an extra bit of glue around the edges to ensure there is no space without glue. Next, you need to wait until the glue is tacky. When it is, firmly apply the patch, pressing on top and squeezing out any air bubbles to ensure the whole patch makes contact with the inner tube and is covered in glue. Now you need to be patient. It's important the glue has time to set properly. Go grab a cup of tea and come back later.
Once your repair has set, it's probably worth checking before putting it back onto the tyre and the rim that it's worked. Put some air in, not too much, and have a listen. Follow the same steps as before and check that no air is escaping and that your repair has been successful.
Now it's time to put the tyre back on the rim. Make sure to check first whether the tyre has a specific rotation direction. Carefully working around, put one side of the tyre completely on the rim, leaving a gap so that you can insert the inner tube, and then completely put the other side on with the inner tube between. Having a small amount of air in the inner tube at this point helps it to hold its shape and makes it much easier to fit inside the tyre. Popping the final part of the tyre bead onto the rim can be quite tricky. It gets quite stiff at this point. Use both thumbs and try to bend the tyre away from you. If this doesn't work, place it on a flat surface and apply pressure from above. Once both sides are on, before you begin inflating, have a check around to make sure that no inner tube is sticking out and that the tyre is correctly seated on the rim. Now you can inflate your tyre to the recommended pressure, and again have a check around once it's fully inflated to make sure that the tyre is seated correctly. Don't forget to secure the valve, correctly replacing the dust cap on top for protection. Your wheel can now be replaced in the dropouts on your bike. This can be done with your bike upside down, but it's incredibly important that once turned the right way round, you reseat the wheels correctly. If you had V or caliper brakes, please remember at this stage to reconnect them. Now you can flip your bike back over. When it's the right way around, undo and reconnect your quick release to make sure the wheel is seated correctly. It's also important to recheck the brakes.
So there it is, today's Blairvadach bike, how to fix a puncture. For more fun facts and useful videos, check out our social media accounts and tune into YouTube on a daily basis for more Blairvadach bikes. Thank you.